Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Wednesday Point 3 live stream. Point 3 people, we hope you guys are doing well. We hope nobody has any damaged corneas or whatever the eye part is called after the eclipse on Monday. Hope nobody stared directly into the eclipse, but we hope that everybody got to enjoy it at least. You know,
one cloud ruined it for me. One cloud.
Yeah.
Just one.
It didn't get too dark over here, so
no.
It didn't get dark. I didn't even have glasses, so I was kind of.
I didn't either.
Upset.
I didn't either.
Real quick, Spider-Man has had quite the event. This guy's got an earthquake and an eclipse. Like, have you started levitating yet or anything?
Nah.
No powers?
I haven't felt any powers yet.
Are you an X-Men yet?
Nope. At least I haven't felt anything yet. They might be delayed in the near future.
Okay.
It was actually so scared. I was driving over a bridge when I kept on getting messages in my group chat about an earthquake, and I'm like, oh god, like why is this happening right now?
roll all the windows down over a bridge from here on out. You heard it here.
But I mean, I was gonna say though, if you do get powers because of all these events, how would it feel? Do we have a specific reaction that we can throw up on screen for the people?
We do. I think we have not only just one.
Oh, they saw it last week.
Not only, but another new Batman one. But two at the same time.
Look at that. Beautiful.
Amazing. You will be seeing a lot of those throughout videos in the future.
Yes, you will. But point 3 people, in case we haven't yet, we are your favorite trio of hosts. Top left, Funko Lou. Top right, Spider Brando, myself, Hero Scroll. Thank you guys for joining. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe, follow us on all our social medias and all that great stuff. We have a great live stream for you guys today. So let's kick it off with our rapid fire news before we get into our deeper dive section of the live stream. But gentlemen, our first big thing that we kind of want to talk about, Robert Downey Jr., Oscar award winning actor Robert Downey Jr. has said he would happily return to Marvel. And I quote, "It's too integral a part of my DNA. That role chose me. Never, ever bet against Kevin Feige. It is a losing bet. He's the house. He will always win." How do we feel about this piece of news, right? Because I feel like this is one of those, it's just inevitable, right?
Dude, man, that's like layers right there. You got he's inevitable with some Thanos quoting right there. Shoot. Listen, you're either on the side of you like variants and you want to see your favorite actor come back as a version of themselves, or you're in the camp of it was the perfect story arc. Don't ruin it. He should never be seen on screen again. I'm sorry, last time I checked, the box office in the MCU was dirt. So Robert Downey Jr., if you ever listen to this, please come back to the silver screen. We'd love to see you don the suits one more time in whatever capacity that you feel would be fun upon your return to the MCU. Please save us. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Come back.
Definitely like to see him back.
I think
I think you're gonna say it, but like, why not? Why not?
Exactly, right. Hello. Welcome to the chat. But I think it's one of those things that I think people forget. By the time that if he does come back in something like Secret Wars, it's gonna have been well over 10 years, 10, 15 years since we last saw him as Iron Man. That's a very long time. So yeah, it's huge. It would be an event. It would be something like Toby coming back or like Andrew coming back. I mean, if you think about it, that's almost a longer time than Andrew did. So why not? Well, just enjoy it. It's fun.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna get to later on some other Marvel news, but here's the last thing I'll say. For all you wrestling fans out there who experience WrestleMania and some of these great stories, legacy characters can do wonders for a story to catapult new characters into the stratosphere that has never been seen before for some of them. So if we want to see the Spider-Mans and the Daredevils and the Moon Knights and all this kind of stuff, you can get a nice lift with a Robert Downey Jr. being your endorser, if you will. I guess it's my turn for the next piece of news. R knows everything. Thank you for that. Jonathan Majors. It has been revealed that he is not getting jail time. He's getting 1 year of domestic abuse counseling. So for all of you who are listening and for the Point 3 fellas, Spider-Brandon, I'll throw this over to you. Will Marvel go back to the Kang plans or decide to be disassociated with Jonathan Majors still, since he was fired?
I think they will not go back to him just because of the terrible PR at this point. But realistically, it would kind of coincide with King Dynasty filming, and it'll save them a lot of hassle to not have to recast.
Mm-hmm.
They should, though, after all the PR and stuff. It's better to not be associated with that and just kind of move on from it. So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he's done. I think he's done. He's been done. And if you want kind of an idea of where we think Kang will go watch our videos on that topic. Especially these two fellas above me did a very good job breaking down where that story could possibly go if we see the character of Kang. But I think Jonathan Majors is done and will forever be done with Marvel.
Agreed. What do we got next?
Oh, we got, if my mouse would work. Did my mouse just die? Nope. That's
glitching. The Eclipse got the computer.
It got him. It's the earthquake. It's the earthquake. Some settings loose.
That was me all day at work, by the way. Just ghost of a camera. I just would like fade away. You know, like that one like GIF where it's just like this and they fade away.
Yeah.
Occasionally on Zoom, like my camera would I'd just be gone. It'd just be a background. What?
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it was good times. It was good times.
We got some Sonic news saying Sonic producer said films can now become Avengers level events with Shadow coming into Sonic 3. This isn't really a spoiler at this point. The movie's 2 years old. And with Knuckles expanding into his own TV show, you can start doing that with other characters and building some other events. I personally don't think it will ever, like, hype level box office wise get to Avengers levels. I don't think the producer was saying that, like, comparing exactly, but just like the type of movies or like crossover and teaming up, if that makes sense. Style, I don't know. I'm excited for it. I've been on my Sonic kick for so long now. I just ordered a Shadow hoodie. We are entering year of the fearless year of Shadow. Apparently,
wait, no more Venom.
It's both. I have a weird season.
What is the season now? It was, gosh, I can't remember it. Venom,
Electro wavelength, Venom, Vengeance.
Yeah, Vengeance.
Electro wavelength, Venom, Vengeance, Shadow season.
Oh, bro, I will cross. If I see you walking down the street, I'm crossing it. It's no problem. I'm gonna cover my wallet behind my kids. Like, bro, there's electromagnetic.
Yeah. I'll be like, who's that?
Yeah,
I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know. It was just like, I like just a lot of different things that I've been enjoying recently combined into one phrase for full context of people that have never heard that before.
I was gonna say people probably are very confused right now. Sonic though, I'm interested to see where it goes. I'm what's the word I'm trying to look for? Kind of not irked, but I don't quite know what the word is. I don't like the fact that everything is Avengers level event. Is the way they try to describe everything now.
Fair.
When people want like a big movie event when it comes to like IPs. And I feel like you should just make it be its own thing and hype it up, because I feel like Sonic 3 is going to be very hyped up by a lot of people who enjoy Sonic. I mean, you just look at Spider Brando and what he thinks about it, and you see that hype, and that hype is contagious, and it makes you want to see the movie on its own. I don't think you need to call it an Avengers level event for people to want to go watch a movie. Just make a good movie, and I think people will be there. Godzilla X Kong, looking at you, New Empire. Look how many people watch that just because of what it is and how it marketed itself.
That's a fair point. Yeah. It's tough saying. Here's the hard part. It's just funny to think about the effect that the MCU and Avengers have, because right now, like, saying Avengers doesn't really sit well with a lot of people. It's like, what Avengers? It's kind of done. But for someone like me who has grown up as a huge Sonic fan, that's how it feels when you get Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Shadow. Like, you get the entire crew together and you have that team up feel after, the heels of like Sonic and Knuckles are going to team up. Okay, where's Shadow? Shadow's going to be in the movie. Okay, and like the next big event comes. I think that's what like Avengers level event means. Like, it's big for that specific universe. So it'll be cool for the fans of the that universe. I'm all for it. Give me animated, huge team up nostalgia fan. We talked about it last week. Go check that out. Kind of what it means for all of us of when the nostalgia grabs too much. But I would love to hear what you guys think of this that are watching, and for us to talk about what Avengers level events mean 3-4 years down the road. Does this term still kind of hold some weight, and do we all kind of get it?
That's nice. That'll be a great video for the future.
Yeah.
You'll be seeing it 3 or 4 years from now. And we'll be talking about this movie, no doubt, along with it. Deadpool and Wolverine news. Our best friend, our absolute best friend of the channel, he's watching right now. Daniel RPK. What's up, buddy? Hope you're doing well, man. Went on to Twitter to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine and kind of just confirmed something that we have been speculating about for a little bit. But Deadpool and Wolverine is the first Marvel Studios film not to be set in the 616/19999 universe. Mm-hmm. And then Fantastic Four will be the second one. But interesting note that Deadpool and Wolverine is going to be the first. Again, a lot of people speculated on this because of the trailer, a lot of set stuff that people saw. How are we feeling about this, guys? I feel like it's about time that this happened, though.
I'll defer to you, Spider Brando.
It's about that time. I am excited. We've been, as much as like we love the 616 and 19999, but they really want to show the multiverse in effect, take us fully onto other worlds and let us learn to love those. And then when they go have the incursion and both worlds are crashing and burning, then we get double the pain. And then the resolution makes up for it, Obviously not to get too down right there.
My hope for this is, if they pull in here's the thing that I think could be kind of confusing for people is the TVA, right? People assume the TVA is 616. But my question to you guys is the TVA 616?
Technically, no.
No, right? They're there. They're outside of their own time. They're doing their own thing. But Loki season 1, Loki season 2, Loki the character himself, the TVA, Mobius, everyone is associated 616, and it's like, well, in this saga, if Deadpool and Wolverine really do have that connection, it's outside of it. So if they go to a different universe, or kind of the main setting that we have sits outside of 616, it's expanding the cinematic universe. And I don't think we're at a point now where like the fallout and everything is 616 specific. But I'm okay with it being outside of that. If they start there, if they move away from there, I'm just not set into, like, we had that in the Infinity Saga. So it's not huge for me to be like, if it's not 616, it feels like this isn't really canon. Where are they going to go? But who cares? Like, it's just the multiverse. Like, it can be anywhere at anything.
Yep. It's giving it that real multiversal feel, like Spider Brando said. Mm-hmm. Which, thinking about it, how we're about 4 years into this phase, or into the saga, sorry. And now is the first time where we're getting to that point. It's a little ridiculous, if I'm being honest, while movies have touched on it.
Mm-hmm.
For this one to be the first one that's like fully set out on that, has that full on setting, it's welcome. And, with Fantastic Four, and I think I saw some rumors about Shang-Chi 2 being set in a different universe as well. It's like, again, where has this been the entire time? Fair. And again, I understand and know that not every project is going to be able to do that. You look at your Captain America and Winter Soldier, and your more grounded projects, but majority should be, at least. So Deadpool and Wolverine's going to change a lot of stuff, and I'm excited.
Yeah, hopefully for good. But there is a movie that has changed a few things in terms of bringing new fans to cinema and film appreciation. That's Dune 2. Finally got its digital release dates of April 16th. So pony up, people, because if you didn't see it in theaters, like myself, you're going to be spending a pretty penny for what should be a fantastic movie. Spider-Man, without spoilers, is it worth the watch?
You're muted.
100%. I forgot. Usually I'm used to.
It's okay. You were on Arrakis, and you were sand dancing so that the worms didn't hear you and cause another earthquake in New York.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. It was your fault.
Highly recommend it. I took my friend to see it that never even saw Dune 1, and he was obsessed with it. So, enough said.
I can see that. This movie made fans for people, regardless, whether you're just book only, whether you're someone who saw it a billion years ago, or someone who you're new to it. I have heard a lot of people say watching Dune 2 made them want to go back to watch Dune 1, which has made them want to read the series and then get to Dune Messiah.
Yes.
Which, I mean, what really more can you ask for from a studio and a movie franchise? Be like, yeah, we just sold a bunch of stuff and made a ton of money, and our next movie is probably going to be massive. So,
oh my God.
Huge. Dune Messiah is going to be huge.
Yeah.
What? Something else that is pretty huge. Not so huge. Fallout. Amazon Prime show got its release date moved up to today. And it currently has a 93% on our good old friends Rotten Tomato.
Mm-hmm.
Which gives me some great hope for another video game adaptation taking a W. After The Last of Us success.
I was going to say, stay tuned to our channel where we will hopefully talk about this later on.
Yeah. I plan on watching it possibly sometime over this weekend, but I'm happy they dropped all episodes at once.
That was a smart choice.
Yeah, I have this on my list. I'm gonna be honest with you guys though. Like it'll take hype to get me to this. I'm intrigued by it, but well, Invincible is done. Guess this could take my Invincible spot.
I was gonna say that
Go ahead.
it comes at a convenient time where it's like there's certain things are winding down, certain things are done. You know, it especially like Spider-Man said, since all the episodes are out at once, you knock it out in a weekend, you're done. You don't have to constantly wait and try to, spend the time to maneuver around it. You just watch it, you're done. We enjoyed it. Let's keep going. Next up, I think we're talking about this more for the implications around movies and cinema, but everybody's favorite murderous animatronics, Five Nights at Freddy's Part 2, has confirmed for 2025 after a absolutely insane box office reception that the first one had. Yeah. I don't think I'm watching this, but someone out there is very happy for it. And you know what? I'm happy for them.
Thanks, Spider-Man. Aren't you happy about this?
I'm pretty happy about it. I was a fan of the first one. I know a lot of friends that are a fan of it, and they were nerding out about like how good the first one was and going into the lore. So,
But did they keep reading and keep watching first? God, you guys missed my point 3 joke. Unbelievable.
I had to unmute myself.
I had to think about it for a second.
I was gonna say they were probably not watching us. They were probably watching Game Theory and watching all the Game Theory videos on it. But I mean, is it indicative though of like the box office, how successful this first one was?
Well, because this came out on Peacock?
It came out on Peacock and
released in theaters.
Yeah, same day, right?
Yep.
I think so.
Yeah, same weekend, same day type thing.
And it made a lot of money. I can actually look it up right now.
I mean, that's kind of the special thing. If you look like this movie has obviously a second, but this just shows you how interesting the box office still continues to be post COVID kickoff. Of people want different things, and like there is no general consensus, and people can find pleasure in watching movies and consuming them in so many different ways. For me, this isn't like the top thing on that I would want to go see. However, I will say I wholeheartedly can see myself watching 1 and 2 when it drops on streaming and just back to back and just being like, that was fun.
Yeah, I agree with that. I watched the first one just on like a Discord watch party, so I feel like that's why I also enjoyed it. I was just able to chat and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have enjoyed it as much in a theater without like, at least with my knowledge going into it, because being able to converse about the lore for it helped a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say though, it and me saying I'm not interested isn't a knock towards the quality of the film or anything, or if anybody's a fan, not in any way. I'm just very interested in the fact that this movie made, at least compared to its budget, it made a lot back. And the studio took notice in that, especially for like such a very niche genre in like horror movie. This made, in comparison, basically the same thing that Godzilla X Kong is right now.
Damn.
Which is again pretty big for its entire run, especially releasing on Peacock at the same time and where people could have it at the comfort of home. For it to make that much, it's very impressive. So
yeah.
I'm curious to see what this next one does, honestly, and like where they put it in terms of like release date, if this will come out in October again, like this first one did, or if it's going to be like box out, if it's going to be like huge blockbuster type of, June, July, August drop.
they don't want to mess with. They don't want to mess with summer 2025.
They need to stay away at least from July. Don't
At
touch
least.
July because they will be
Buried.
Buried.
Real quick before we get to our first mini deep dive about a recent trailer that just dropped, Transformers 1 trailer is going to be debuting on April 18th. Spider Brando, thoughts on Transformers 1?
Honestly, I really don't have any.
No, dude, I don't either. I'm just like, okay.
I kind of just saw the news. I just saw it and was like, oh, this could be cool. I never saw the last Beast one, and I kind of like wanted to bring this up because I wanted to test Hero's knowledge. Do you know anything about like what Transformers 1 is supposed to be? Is it like a reboot or like continuation of the Beast story?
I think it's a reboot. It's supposed to be like a soft reboot, at least from what I heard. I could be wrong. I think Michael Bay is attached to it, is something I heard as well.
Great.
I don't think he's director. I think he's like a producer for this one.
Oh.
But what I will say is I have enjoyed the past two Transformers movies. Bumblebee and Rise of the Beast was actually very surprising and a lot of fun. Hopefully Transformers 1 will be a continuation of that and not in the negative direction. So give us the Transformers, man. I think people are ready for like a good rebooted Transformers.
Yeah, it's been long enough too. So
yeah,
Only thing that's missing is a good story. I think Rise of the Beast gave you a little bit more of substance when it came to a story to follow along. Man, I don't know how many times I have to follow a human being that's like, what's this? And then next thing you know, they're on like a war zone and they're like actually fighting alien robots. And I'm like, how did you evolve this quickly to just being like a mechanic in a garage to just like a super fighter? It's weird.
And that's the problem, I think, with Beast Wars and Bumblebee, where it's like they finally got the Transformers part down, right? Where it's like they're interesting, they're very fun to see. That's what we want to see, but then it gets kind of bogged down by a lot of the other stuff around it.
Yeah.
And hopefully, with movies that are coming out, i.e., Godzilla -1 and Godzilla and Kong: The New Empire, they can take what works from both of those and make the perfect Transformers movie.
I think we could talk about that a lot more in detail because I think there is this growing swell, I would say, that's Base, what's up? What an epic comment to just be like, boom. Like, this is like live in the chat. Well, listen, we got some people in the chat. We got some people watching live. Let's jump on over to the Joker 2 trailer. Dropped yesterday. Hopefully all of you got a chance to check out that trailer. Spoilers upcoming on this with some thoughts. Gents, are we any more or less excited? Thank you, Base. But are we any more or less excited about this movie now?
I'm way more excited. I was a little skeptical going into it after like hearing all those reports of how it's gonna be like a huge musical and like 13 songs, but oh my god, this freaking trailer I watched it like 3 times today. The score for it was just beautiful. It deserves. Actually, I'll wait till your guys' opinions on it.
Whoa. Not throwing the new stuff for it. That's crazy.
Well, I want to use a certain one, so
I know which one you want to use. So I'll be honest, I don't quite care for this universe. It's not my favorite to be in. Not that I don't like the first movie. I just feel like there wasn't really a need for a second one. I'm interested to see where it goes. It has piqued my curiosity. I will say that, but I don't know if I'm dying to see it. Granted, I really wasn't dying to see the first one either because I don't. It's weird to say I don't think the Joker really needs a movie, but it was good. I enjoyed it,
Yeah.
and I'm sure I'll probably enjoy this one.
It's one of those, and I think they carry this over in this trailer of like it's heavy. And there's sometimes with heavy movies, like, don't get me wrong, like here at the Point 3 podcast, we are all in for what DC brings to the table. And I think we're all fairly familiar with that. But there's this eerie sense of realism and heaviness that comes with Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. And then to know Lady Gaga's historical films that she's been a part of and her ability to really take you to that place too. Like, you just want to put on a sad song. I think we were kind of goofing around, but I was pretty serious of like, I'm ready to feel sad after watching this trailer. And like, it just evokes emotion for me specifically that I just don't love staying in. You know, like this isn't like a euphoria or a high. This is like a low. And I'm like, you guys are great at what you do because I feel, but I don't love feeling this way for extended periods of time, if at all.
Yeah.
It's valid.
Yeah. It's a very good way of putting it because I think that's exactly what I felt with the first one, where I was just kind of like, I remember I watched it on a plane, actually, is where I watched it for a work trip. And I was just like, okay, I was like, I kind of felt something and I didn't like it. And I'm pretty sure that's what will happen with this. And that's a good testament to Joaquin Phoenix because he does a phenomenal job. He's a phenomenal actor. And Lady Gaga, I think, is very underrated.
Yep.
As an actress. We'll see where it goes, man. We'll see where it goes.
I agree. Go ahead.
I'm just excited to. I really liked just the type of movie, not type of movie, but just like the quality of the movie and of Joker 1, and just hoping for like, I don't know, I just like seeing really, really good movies, no matter what emotions they give out. And hoping this one could replicate the first one. I'm very excited for it. I can't.
You're containing it, right? I feel the excitement.
Well, yeah.
I don't really. You guys said very good things about like the type of movie it is and portrayal it gives off. I didn't really know what else to say.
What? So I've had this thought. I'll throw this back over to you, Spider Brando. I had this thought of like, because you know me, I have to compare everything. It's just in my bones. But comparing the like kind of mental health aspects that we saw in Moon Knight versus the mental health aspect of Joker, like do you see a difference, or do you see that the MCU could adopt something along this line and carry that over to some other characters if possible? Or do you think that Joker 2 is kind of its own thing? It's a one of one. It's unique and probably won't be duplicated.
I feel like they definitely could carry some stuff over, but it's hard to tell because the Joker is just like dark, like extremely dark. I don't see the MCU going that far, even though that'll be like a great way to bring awareness to a lot more people.
Yeah, I agree.
Of
I agree.
certain like mental health things.
Yeah. It's it reminds me a lot of the emotion I feel, at least, is the same as Logan, where it's like very real, very raw, where They don't, even though it is a superhero film, they're not like masking. And I don't know if Joker is a quote unquote superhero film, but it is a like superhero universe. They don't mask the real stuff with like, all the fantasy and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just, it is what it is. And that's how it is. And I think sometimes when we go into those movies, we're not expecting that.
Mm.
And I think that's what hits us really hard when we see it. Because I think typically, normally, most of the time, I would say, we go to movies to kind of escape things. And then when we go to the movies or we're watching a movie and then we see very real stuff that, maybe we know someone or are going through with that, it hits a lot harder.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always feel great to see. And it can be uncomfortable. And I think that's what the Joker brings. But, I think they're going to do a great job with the film. Even though I still personally am not like super excited to see it, I still think it's going to be good.
It's funny. It's interesting that you say that, of like, movies are used as an escape and for entertainment, but the Joker, it feel very weird saying like, oh, I was really entertained by the Joker. Like, that just to me like doesn't go, like, that's too negative. Well, no, that equals a positive. It doesn't make sense either. It just doesn't make sense, right? Like, it just doesn't. I can appreciate what they're doing, but again, it is just that's not an escape, right?
It's conflicting.
Yeah, a little bit. Good comment. Oppenheimer. I think that's different because the underlying root for like an Oppenheimer versus like a Joker, there's a lot that isn't really on the surface and kind of in your face. But when you really think about it and break this movie down to the point where it's like, this is being released in Japan finally, it's like, uh-oh. Like, there were comments and thoughts. Like, there's a lot that rolls up into an Oppenheimer. But there were some It's just interesting. I just think Joker's on the more difficult end to be like, yeah, I loved it. I want to go see it again. They're like, you really excited about that? And they're like, why? And it's like, oof.
Yeah. It's like even the teaser trailer that they showed for the actual trailer, that they showed in the morning, where it's just him kind of like psychotic laughing. I was already like, oh no, this is gonna be this is gonna be really heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm ready to experience the movie, I guess, after this conversation.
Yeah. Fair point. Well, I think we're gonna move into the next piece of the live stream. But before we do that, appreciate all of you who are joining and watching this live and recorded. Head on over to our Discord to join our Discord to join our conversation and our watch parties. Spider Brando has been hosting some of the most bangers that have ever existed. If you are someone who wants to jump onto the X-Men 97 bandwagon, we are opening, well, it's up to Spider Brand now, but we're welcoming you with open arms for sure. Last one I was at was A+. I am going to be here for episode 5s. Oh man. Huge. But what do we got next?
Next up, we got man, what was the end of Invincible season 2? That's right, we're talking Invincible season 2, reviewing the entire season in hopefully 20 to 25 minutes of reviewing pleasure. But the first question I gotta ask you guys, right, after seeing part 1 of season 2, taking a break, and then seeing the rest of it after last week's finale, what is your just pure rating, quick rating, no explanation, quick rating? Spider Brando, I'll throw it over to you.
So did you ask for just the finale or the whole season?
Whole season.
7, 8. 7.8 to clarify, not 7 to 8, 7.8.
Okay. Funko Lou?
Oh, I'm probably gonna say like a 7.3 with an arrow down.
Ooh, we'll get into that. I'm just gonna say it even 7. An even 7.
Wow, I was not expecting that the highest one.
Yeah, even 7. Well,
It is surprising after our last conversation off of last
Yeah.
episode. It kind of is. I've been waiting to. Yeah, I agree.
we're gonna dissect it. So let's get into the hits and misses of season 2. We're gonna also mention our theories for what's gonna happen later. Again, if you're just joining us or watching this later on, spoilers. We're gonna go into it. So if you haven't seen it yet, pause the video, watch it, or just be spoiled and have fun with us. And also another theory or another thing of note, we are coming at this from the perspective of purely show only. We don't know what happens in the books. So if you hear us say something and you're like, oh, that actually happens in the book. Okay, thank you. Keep it to yourself, please. But we love you. Thank you for, putting your input, but just keep it in mind. So Lou, I'm very interested to see what you have to say though. Why is it pointing downwards? What worked? What didn't work for you?
I think it all kind of started with Amber and just the dragging on of their relationship at first. But there were things that I was expecting to hit more that didn't, and the things that did kind of hit felt slightly unwarranted, especially in the finale. For example, like Anissa. When Anissa showed up, I was like, okay, here's the first kind of Viltrumite encounter. This is what we're looking for. And I was like, felt slightly underwhelmed. And then, to be honest with you, the Levy fight, for as good as it was, I think that showcased completely of the mistakes that the creators of the show and Amazon Studios and everyone kind of the fallout from splitting your season to having no momentum for him to having him come in and get whomped. I should have felt like how Mark was trying to give us of, oh my gosh, I did this. And I'm like, great. We saw the guy for like 5 seconds this season, and it's supposed to be one of the most monumental moments for Mark. That didn't come across very well to me specifically. He didn't soak into it, but he's been kind of whiny the majority of the season. I don't know. I know Mark is going to be great, but for me personally, I'm like, all right, move on from your girl. We got it. Move on. You're not like Omni-Man yet. We got it. I just didn't feel the impact that I think maybe they wanted us to when this was all said and done, personally. And for that, I enjoyed a lot. But there are certain things I was like, okay, I'm ready for season 3. Like, I'm ready to move on to the next season.
Interesting.
It felt like one of those, like, it was like intermediate. No. Yeah, like an intermediate season. No, not intermediate. Not a filler, but what's like a synonym for
like
filler?
A prequel setup?
Setup. Yeah, setup. Let's go setup. It felt like a setup season for like another future season. Kind of like how it's a good show that did that. Like I took an L one season. Kind of like Mandalorian season 2 was like a setup for mainly Ahsoka and Book of Boba. It was kind of like mid, just to like push stories along, if that makes sense. And the gap, like you said, and it's the biggest thing that pissed me off about this season was having to wait 4 months just for 4 episodes to come back, and like they cut that gap at such a bad time, man. Such a just we got Fallout dropping everything all at once. Prime also. They why couldn't Invincible do that with Prime? It would have had such a better feeling. And from one of my friends that I had talked to about it, who he had caught up from like season 2, episode 1 until episode 4 or 5, and he got to binge it like all in a row. And I'm like, just kept on telling me, it was like, oh my god, like this is so epic and all that. And I'm like, I wish I got to feel like that. I had to wait 4 months and then boom, cliffhanger, and it was like, that hurts. And then he got to just watch those 2 episodes, like all those episodes back to back to back to back to back.
Yeah. You nailed it on the head perfectly. And I think that's what makes you feel like that, Lou, is the fact that that 4-month wait breaks them any momentum that this show had.
Yeah.
It screeches it to a halt.
Mm-hmm.
And you almost have to go back and watch those first 4 episodes again to kind of be like, oh yeah, that happened. And then to keep going and really remember what's going on. And then the fact that you only get another 4 episodes, it doesn't feel like it's enough time, even though that they're hour-long episodes. It just, there's not enough time to get the momentum back that you lost. And that, in reality, I think is what makes you feel like that. Because I started watching it over again, like bits and pieces. And yeah, the season feels super different when you get to just kind of go through it all.
Yep.
And you don't have to wait 4 months, and you don't have to be like, oh, well, who's this? And why is this character there? And who's that? And, especially since this season went back to so much from season 1.
Right.
And didn't keep going with stuff of like purely season 2. It did. But then it also introduced new things. It expected you to remember things from the first one and Adam Eve. And then it's like, again, if you don't watch Invincible or really know Invincible, having a 4-month gap in your mind from this entire universe and this series, and then even though they do a good job of the recap, it's just not enough to get you fully invested into the universe. Not something like, for example, X-Men 97 right now, that, imagine if after this last episode, they're like, okay, now wait 5 months for me. Okay.
Yeah. Here's the only thing to that, though. I do think that there is something to be said about how well X-Men 97 is executing, making everything feel relevant and taking the stakes and raising them. Invincible to me said, hey, these are really big stakes. And I'm like, I know that they are. I can see that they are, but I don't feel that they really are. And I know that we're on this journey of growth with Mark, and it's going to lead to him being what feels like better than Omni-Man, right? Why would he not be better than a season 1 Omni-Man? Like, that just is weird to me. We haven't read any of this. I know it's out there, and information and answers to what we're saying exist. However, what Invincible season 2 part 1 and 2 did is try to build up these side characters and make these additional stories interesting, which some of them were. But in the end, I look back at it and watching how we watched with the gap, and I'm like, I would have rather have not seen any of that, and you just would have doubled down on Mark's story and Omni-Man's story and spent that much time just telling me more about them. I would have preferred that.
Yeah, I agree 100%. That's honestly what they should have done. But if that's not what they wanted, then okay. And if it really was setting up the big Angstrom-Levy fight, it feels like we should have spent more time with Levy as well.
A little bit.
And
yeah.
The one big thing that I can think of off the top of my head that they should have done is take the moments that they showed you in the flashbacks of this last episode of like all his universe's counterparts fighting evil versions of Mark, sprinkle those into the other episodes. Let that be how you either end or start all the other episodes of season 2. You see all his versions get killed, the people he loves getting killed, and you really get to kind of start to see his motivation and start to be like, oh no, he's gonna do something messed up to Mark or his family. And once he gets to Mark's mom, that's when it's like, okay, things shot up. But when he just shows up at the end of the season, after not being present since episode 1.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, okay.
I have a comment.
Hit it.
Their marketing has what screwed their season up. They marketed Leffy so hard in like the beginning of season 1, and I remember all those trailers had like the other Earth Mark and Omni-Man going on the fiasco and all about Leffy. And then you got like that one episode 2, like, and then like a moment in episode 2, and then boom, gone like 4 months later. And then this part of the season, they barely marketed him at all. They should have flip-flopped it and, like what Hero said, incorporated more of what we saw in the finale in like those first couple episodes. And then that would have really led to a more impactful finale.
Yeah.
Like they marketed a lot of like the second half of season 2. I feel not even in when the season 2 was first coming out. It was just weird. I feel like they set expectations too high, and then with the break, it just didn't execute the way they wanted to.
Yeah.
Would you guys have felt, given everything that happened with this season, would you have felt that it would have been more impactful to flip-flop the Thrax and Viltrumite fight with the Levy Mark fight?
No, because I do like the theme of Mark holding himself back when he needs to go full out, and then the one time he does go full out, finally, it leads to something really bad. I do like what they set up with that, and I personally, I really enjoyed the finale of him. I'm assuming keep murdering Levy. I don't see him coming back.
Yeah.
I thought it was fantastically done, especially again going to the theme of, him always holding back, him not wanting to be like Omni-Man. I just think again that 4-month gap really kills the momentum, because that was kind of the mid-season,
Yeah.
And that was 4 months ago. So for them to then pick it back up at the end of the episode, it's just like, it's one of those things like, oh, we're doing this again, but I kind of forgot about it. That should have been done with no break, or maybe have been even, honestly, like the second to last episode, not the last one.
Yeah. I mean, the break hurt, and I know that they had mentioned that they're probably never going to do that again, and it's going to be more of a traditional release style moving forward. I just hope here in the future, I know what we were interested in was like the fallout of Omni-Man and kind of his effect on humanity. I don't think we really got too much of that later on, which is fine. Debbie, I think, was a big part of this, and I will say when Levy broke her arm, like, dude, I got like sick. I was like, oh,
scared.
Man. Yeah.
I got scared too. I won't lie.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, are they gonna?
And you know what was funny about that? When Cecil, she's out there with the freaking her bone sticking out, and then her like Cecil comes in with the SWAT force, and they're all just scanning the house, boarding everything up. They don't even think about, oh, maybe we should go get her freaking to the hospital, until Cecil comes in, starts yapping, and it's like, oh, you should go to the doctors. No shit, that's the first thing you should have done if you see a freaking bone sticking out. That gave me that gave me such a uncertification right there.
I do think Cecil did react appropriately once he saw it, I think. And I think that was kind of the point. But it was very odd for them to just be like, oh. Yeah, they're like, oh, the woman, bleeding out from her arm. Yeah, no, still whatever.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
Flesh. It's okay.
I'm wondering, I'm curious. Cecil's a wild card for me in Invincible, and I feel like I can talk like more excitedly about things now with him. But I feel like he's going to play that Batman role of like, I have a contingency plan, which we kind of know already, right? But I'm curious of how far he's going to go in the end to ultimately put some sort of something in place to stop Mark or Omni-Man or the Viltrumites or a Levy or anyone else. I personally think it's going to be kind of like a virus-based type of thing because I don't think anything he could possibly create would be strong enough from a physical perspective. But I'm just really curious what is in that room that no one can see. What is he working on? I wonder who's going to discover that and what ultimately like happens to Cecil in the end.
Yeah.
I have a theory I'm gonna just throw out there. Potential robot version of Mark or Omni-Man. That's my theory. Or some like maybe older hero that we don't know of yet. I don't know.
Well, shout out to the one doctor who they replaced his voice actor, Ezra Miller, Sia. But I think something like that. Who's the guy who they just released? Like he's working on Donald. He was working on that one college kid.
Oh,
yeah, like
Doctor. I forgot the name.
Yeah.
Because that one college kid got that shit done like 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah. I'm interested to see where they go because it really seems like he's using monstrosities to go against him or go against everybody, and I don't think people know about that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very interested to see where it goes in terms of like once the heroes find out and how they react. Because I think Cecil is rubbing a lot of people the wrong way.
Agree.
And there's going to come to a point where that comes to a head. And I don't think this will be a season 3 thing. I honestly don't see this till maybe like a season 4, season 5, like later on down the line.
Yeah.
My big theory for season 3, I really think that we're going to see some evil versions of Mark.
I hope.
I thought we were going to see that this season. I thought the
True.
marketing they did.
True.
That was another
True.
big thing
Agreed.
that they were hyping up.
Agreed. But I really feel like, especially after the way we got all the flashbacks at the end of the season, it felt like such a very intentional thing to show, to be like, hey, in literally every other dimension, Mark is evil. This is the one that he's not. I'm interested to see what they do with that. Somebody has to find that and, bring in all the Marks versus Mark or something like that. I don't know.
Dude, I hope Ro's powerful enough. I will say, and by the way, I did enjoy the season finale. I really, really, really thought their highlight of this was right around Mark's display of powers and how when he was kind of like grieving and going through those emotions at the end, man was kind of borderline unhinged. I thought he was going to fly through time for a second.
Dude,
I really thought he was going to go to a new dimension.
I thought they were about to do some Flash freaking speed travel or time travel.
I was like, please stop, please stop, please stop, please stop.
You're going too fast.
Yeah. But I'm curious to see what his limits truthfully are, and if he does go on this exploration of like, kind of like a Vegeta like post Namek saga where he's like trying to go Super Saiyan and he just goes to all these other planets, just like wrecking everyone from the Frieza Force, and he's just like, I need to obtain this next level of power.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have that coupled with his fear. Well, his fear of being Omni-Man, but his fear of I can't defeat Omni-Man and his lack of understanding of how powerful am I. He needs training. That is evident. He sucks as a fighter overall. I'm sorry. I think he's garbage at this point. He's very unrefined. He's a bruiser, and he's not really a bruiser. But who puts him on that path? Maybe it's old boy Optimus Prime. I don't know.
Let's talk for a quick second that finale and the cameos. Did you guys like them?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I wish it was the real thing, but I'll take what I could get.
Yeah.
Disney Spider.
I just wanted to bring it up for a second that, especially the outrage that I saw online over people being like, "Wow, Invincible really said, really did what you order online versus what you get in person," and I'm like, you guys are stupid because if you really expected Spider-Man, full on Spider-Man, to show up in a show where people are getting limbs actively ripped off and dying in horrible, brutal ways, and if you think Disney is just going to let him show up, not even Disney, Sony is just going to let him show up in this project, I want to know what you're on.
Yeah.
And if you really think that Amazon was going to pay for that, please get yourself checked, because there's no world, there's no dimension where that happens, okay?
No, it was still cool though, and fake
It was
Doc Ock was
absolutely
kind of
great.
cool. The Batman thing, I think, is a little better.
That's what I was going to say. The Batman one was infinitely better.
Yeah.
And I would have taken that any other day over a Agent Spider.
Agent Spider?
It was Agent Spider, right?
I think so. Yeah.
I think that was his name.
Yeah, because he had the big A in front.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Agent Spider.
I thought it was funny when he came back though. Like, there's subtle things that they do in Invincible that for me, I just think are kind of funny. Like when he comes back through that portal, he did have some funny moments, but like he had the web on his back and he just like reaches back and is like, like tosses it aside kind of thing. And like sometimes I think when creators do this, they're just like, Spider-Man has nothing on Invincible. When so many people are like, oh, deathmatch Spider-Man versus Invincible, and they're like, Invincible would just destroy him.
Yeah. It was a quick thing that, again, don't get your expectations too high, people. Like, cameos, yes, you can. I mean, we got a Walking Dead one, technically.
The little
Yeah,
zombie bird.
that's what I thought of too.
So, like, enjoy
Shout
that
out
kind of stuff.
Rob Kirkman.
Yeah,
Bob.
don't think of other things.
Yeah.
I enjoyed how Amazon and the Invincible team just didn't even think of asking Marvel or Sony because they knew that it would have just been hell.
Yeah.
So that was cool. That's why knowing that is why I respect and like appreciate what they did. So I'm like, even like they just said fuck it. They said fuck it, we ball. Essentially, if they come at us for doing a freaking Spider-Man ripoff, they come at us. But I appreciate that.
I do too. And the thing is, they technically can't because there's nothing really to go after.
Mm-hmm.
It's so generic enough that it's like
Sony wants their freaking money, especially after that Madam Web failure.
They're hurting from that. Now, if they did a Madam Web cameo, then I'm sure Sony would have went after them and lost probably. But
No, dude. No.
Yeah.
No. They were good. They were good. But I want to ask you guys, I know we're getting close to time, but what do you want to see next for season 3?
Two things. I know we kind of ran it to the ground, but it's truly what I want for season 3. Don't do a break. Just let it play out. Mm-hmm. But I really hope we see more. We see Mark and we see Omni-Man and Alan. I think those are your big 3 of the series.
Yeah.
And I think you show them and you show how they really start to gel as a unit. And what that means for like Earth, the Viltrumites, and this war that what's Optimus Prime? Thaddeus?
Thetis.
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 Yeah. Thetis. But like what that means for him and everything. I think that's the way to go. Start setting up this war proper. Because we spent an entire season talking about it already. So
Yeah. Spider Brando.
Oh, this is just a random thought, but I was trying to compare the season to something else. The season was like Dune 1 to Dune 2. So like season 3 will be Dune 2. Just epic, like building up. That's exactly what I meant earlier. But I digress. Season 3 stuff. I want to see the closure for Omni-Man's story. As much as I like Omni-Man, I kind of just want to I want it to just be Invincible show. And sure, he was in a prison for like most of the season and away, but I kind of just want to see him like just out the picture, like fully. I feel like that'll put Mark way more in the spotlight, and having them have like a nice like closuring season together of them working together or something before like a Omni-Man sacrifice would be pretty cool and give some hope back into Mark of like how he was just comparing at the end of this season to killing somebody and not wanting to be like his dad, that he could look at the end of the next season and be like, damn, maybe he could be like him. I think that would be a cool way to go through like a nice like 3-season arc for both of them.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. More Mark, more Omni-Man, more Viltrumites. I want to see more of that story.
And I have one more thing. I want, obviously, Eve and Mark. That's all I want. Season 3. We're so close this season, but man had to freaking chicken out.
Yeah, that it could fall into the gripe bucket for me personally, but I think they need to spend more time building the team aspect of the Guardians of the Globe up a little bit more. But as a whole, I think each of these individual pieces didn't hit as well. It might on a rewatch, but I would rather see Earth's Defenders be more of Earth's Defenders and Mark and Omni-Man and Alan be more of that universal defense. And just to take them off planet, let the Guardians do their thing. But I thought that they had a good thing going with that one like skull giant monster fight thing. And Cecil's like, Mark, we need you. Mark, we need you. The more Mark is away from Earth, I think the better this story may feel until the inevitable invasion comes and my guy steps back with just a beastly attitude. And I mean, I want to see what Debbie says when Omni-Man shows up again. I'm weirdly invested for that.
Yeah.
It was so small, but the detail the fact that Omni-Man's like, I think I miss my wife. It popped me a little. It popped me. I won't lie, because I'm like, oh, so we're getting that story. Because honestly, it felt like they were done. Like it felt like Nolan and Debbie, you're not getting that story. You're not getting the makeup. They are literally, it's irreparable damage. They're not going to associate with each other in any way at all, other than through his baby.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're teasing it with that, I'm excited.
Yeah. I agree. Only other thing I'm going to throw in there, this isn't related to the story. We know it's a really good story. I hope that the production level and the decision making from the team that is behind Invincible improves a little bit more. I think I had a higher expectations when season 1 was out, but now that we're seeing the Across the Spider-Verses of the world, the X-Men 97s of the world, DC animation is about to pop off starting next year. I think Invincible's quality may need to take a step forward from a production standpoint. The story is there, but the the effects, the movements. I think there's a lot of crispness that expectations will be kind of displaced a little bit because we're seeing some really, 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 really good quality coming from Disney, Marvel Studios, and Sony Animation as well. So fingers crossed here, because that means something to me.
Fair point.
I agree. Yeah.
All right. Any other Invincible thoughts?
See you for season 3 in 2 more years.
Dude, I hope not. Please, just one. Just one. Go ahead.
I was gonna say they better streamline that shit. But something in the middle of Invincible season 2 and 3 that should be coming out in 2025 is Marvel's Fantastic Four. And we're going to go into a little bit of who the Fantastic Four is to us in a similar fashion to what we did last week of our Road to Superman series of we brought up who Superman is to us. And this week we're debuting our Road to Fantastic Four and starting off with the same way. So it's a little bit transition, but I'm excited for Fantastic Four, and I don't know, just like Superman, I don't know much about them besides the couple live action movies I've seen. I just started to read this Silver Surfer comic today, so I'm excited about that and excited to learn more about them. I want to kick it. I don't know who I want to kick it off to. I'll choose Hero. Who is the Fantastic Four to you?
Yeah, no. So Fantastic Four is, I won't lie, it's a very, there's gaps in terms of knowledge for me in terms for the Fantastic Four. I know a lot, or I know the very basic stuff, I would like to say. But I know that there's a lot of stories out there for them that are must read and important, and the importance of them as a group is not lost on me. I know what they mean to Marvel, to comics in general. It can be said that without Fantastic Four, we don't have Marvel as a company, which means we don't have Spider-Man, we don't have the X-Men, probably. We don't have a lot of these things. So Marvel's First Family, I think, is without a doubt for me a group that I want to say who they are to me, the most underrated group in all of anything, really. It goes without saying how stepped over they feel because of how they've been portrayed in outside of comics, right? Like, it hasn't been kind to them. Where Spider-Man, Batman, X-Men, the most important groups in comic book characters have had those iconic, portrayals. Fantastic Four hasn't had anything that has stuck with people.
Not even like video games or anything either. TV shows sucks.
Nah.
Well, they had the 90s show, but
it's not that great though.
Yeah, I don't know if that I wouldn't count that. That's not like overly impactful.
Yeah, which sucks though. Which sucks because when we talk about Fantastic Four, we should be as hyped as we are now about them, where we're like, oh yeah, we're getting there. I think little by little. But when it comes to, for example, who they're going up against in July of Superman, we're not like, wow, Superman is this, that, and that. And, look at all the other portrayals that we've seen of him. So, even if you missed out on it, you could still go back and watch it. With Fantastic Four, you don't have that. You do have the movies, and there are things to like about them, but I don't know if I would be like, yes, that is the definitive version of the Fantastic Four that you need to go watch and, and see and read and enjoy.
Yeah.
So to me, the most underrated group in all of nerd fandom.
Honestly, yeah. Yeah. I think it's fairly simple to me of the Fantastic Four or the group that never was, but the group that should be, right? And I look at a team like the Guardians of the Galaxy where you have a non-Avengers, non-team up, non-Justice League type group that feels like a solo film, but it's multiple characters that are always going to be present. And there's no reason in my mind why the Fantastic Four shouldn't be that. The group of characters that they have, I think, are fantastic and well, no pun intended, but they're very interesting. The Thing, Johnny, Sue, Reed. There's just one glaring thing, in my opinion, that never allowed them to be what I ultimately think they're going to be after this movie. And we'll touch on that eventually. And I know that might sound contradictory for what I've said about them in Discord and how I think that Superman's going to smack Fantastic Four movie. Um, the Fantastic Four never had technology like we have today. And I think it's really, 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 really hard to make them feel cool, look cool, and do superhero cool without being animated. And they're always associated with that 50s, 60s type of style. They're not as fun. They're not as exciting. They look blocky. Nobody loves Gumby character. Oh, this guy's on fire. Great. This girl disappeared and we don't see her anyways, but we see footsteps. Like, it's very, you have to, the people who are behind the Fantastic Four from an animated and live action standpoint have to be very innovative and very creative to make you see, hear, and feel. Like, to touch all of your senses, it's not as easy as it is of throwing an Iron Man or Captain America or Batman or Superman. No, not Superman, but a Batman on screen. They take effort. However, if you get them right, they easily could become one of the, if not the best groups that we will ever see potentially in our lifetime. And I really, really feel that way. The effects just have to be done well. The story has to be done well. I don't think we ever could have gotten that prior to 2025 or 2024, to where it's a true reality that we get a good Fantastic Four on screen.
Very well said. They need to do a great Human Torch. Human Torch's flame on needs to be chef's kiss the first time they ever do it. Like, just light them on fire just to fully replicate it. Oppenheimer got to do. They got to freaking set off a real bomb, light a dude on fire. We need that level of.
But truthfully, let me ask you guys this: name one live action fire based character where you're like, that's the one. I can't think of one.
Can't.
Maybe we could talk about a Ghost Rider Flamehead. Not really.
Hard.
Fire characters for live action without looking like, dude, you look 100% VFX heavy. Like, you are just a special effect. Like, you're your own package. That's difficult.
Mm-hmm. But
if they get him right, though, that's huge.
That'd be good. Is Hero frozen?
No.
Oh no!
Dude, I thought about that a couple times. I'm
Dude,
like, man, this guy's either really still or he's frozen. And then, like, I see you sway just a little bit, and I'm like, oh, we're good. But when you said it,
I was just
I thought you were
waiting
gonna
to
say something, and then it was just nothing.
No,
So
I was just waiting to see. I was trying to see who they are to you. I was waiting. I didn't want to start yapping until you were done.
Okay. So to me, the Fantastic Four are very underrated, like you guys have both said, and they've always come across as like they've had some form of swag to them, across like most medias that are just like how the team Connect? No, not connects. I can't think of any words tonight that I want to say. I don't know why. But the team's chemistry between each other, just synergy, is just like swaggy. It feels, and you didn't really get that in either Fantastic Four live action adaptation. So I'm hoping the MCU does, but like for most of the comics that I have read of them, they all interact with each other in like such like a cool and unique way that you don't really get to see the X-Men or Avengers interact like, because technically Fantastic Four is more of a family than those teams, but it's just, yeah, to me they're just like a family, Marvel's first family of swag that kick ass. And that's what I want to see in the MCU, and Pedro and Vanessa Kirby and Ebon Moss and Joseph Quinn do.
Props for remembering all the names.
Yeah, that was actually really good.
Yeah,
I'm like the guy from The Bear.
Yeah.
Ebon, I thought Ebon was gonna be the one that screwed me. Not gonna lie.
No, it claps. No, I was gonna say great points, because, and I think that's the other thing, the other disconnect of people in seeing Fantastic Four, the films, both the first two and then Fantastic. They don't feel cool.
No.
You look at them and they feel very corny. Like the chemistry that they have and the way that they interact with each other. I remember rewatching the first Fantastic Four not too long ago, for a project we were doing for the podcast, which we are still doing just down the line. It's just like Reed is just a nerd. Like there's nothing cool about Reed. And there's nothing cool about Sue. She's just hot. Like that's what she's supposed to be.
Yep.
And Chris Evans isn't cool. He's just a guy trying to be cool. And then Thing is just a thing. And it's like that dynamic doesn't work for people. Like they don't feel like a family. They just feel like not in a there. Yeah, they're all just there. And I dare say that it's even worse in Fantastic. Again, I haven't seen that movie since it came out, but I remember there being no chemistry between the stars, it felt like. So hopefully that's the big thing, that's the key, it's between the special effects, making them look cool, and then really showing the chemistry that this team actually has, right? Because when we look at the Avengers, when we look at Guardians, when we look at X-Men in both films and then in things like X-Men 97, when we're like, yo, when the team's all together, that's sick. But right now, it's like, I don't want to see any of them. Not as individuals or as a team.
But again, each of them should be very successful as individuals, right? Especially when we get to this point in the MCU for Secret Wars. That I really think that they missed out on having Reed a part of the Illuminati, not the Multiverse of Madness, John Krasinski. That's no good. But like a true Reed Richards that is on the scale of a Professor X, Doctor Strange, Tony Stark's Iron Man, Black Panther T'Challa. That's Reed. Reed is right there. That like he's an ace type character. Thing should be able to go head to head with Hulk, no problem. Especially this MCU Hulk.
He should dog walk that Hulk.
Yeah, 100%. And personally, I mean, I don't want to get into any spoilers for Spider-Verse or anything like that, but like when Johnny Storm shows up, you should say crap. Like that should be like I wish that I'd rather face Thanos than Human Torch, because I have no chance. That's how Human Torch needs to feel. And like you said with Sue doesn't need to be the sexy character that's the eye candy. Sue's legit. And she needs to feel every bit of that. But these four characters should be able to stand alone on their own and feel A to S tier in the MCU. No question.
Hopefully they take cues from Guardians and
Oh,
really showcase each character, where I feel like that's probably the one big thing that Guardians didn't always get to do, is showcase every character. If Fantastic Four showcases every single one, makes you care about them, and makes you care about them not only as a team but as individuals, you're
Mhm.
going to have a very special team that, if done properly, could eclipse the Avengers and
Mhm.
could
Mhm.
far surpass
Mhm.
anything Guardians would ever have done.
Mhm. Kind
I think
of,
Pedro could do it.
yeah. That's what I was gonna say. We've kind of touched on it a little bit more, but this kind of goes back to what we mentioned with Invincible. The person who's behind this, that tells a story of family, will be the one that takes Fantastic Four to new heights. If you can get that across quick, I think the technology will take care of itself, but the substance of the story would revolve around that, especially if they're a seasoned team that's well established by the time we see them in this movie. We're just getting a recap and recount or some sort of narration about their past adventures, because it's not going to be an origin story, right? But that'll be huge. And to your point, Spider Brando, Pedro Pascal is, I think this is what we kind of talked about when he was casted. He has the ability to play 3 to 4 different roles in this movie. That's a skill. I don't know. The Fantastic Four to me today hopefully feels like the It team after their initial multiverse saga run.
Let's hope a year from now, once we finally have the trailer and the costumes, and we're a couple months away from release date, we're like, wow, guys, Fantastic Four is something special ahead of it. And we can really, when we ask this question again, we can have a better answer.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the whole point of this series.
This is going to be a good series, and The Road to Superman is going to be another good series. Spider Brando, did you want to share your initial read?
For Superman?
No, Fantastic Four.
Oh, I did already.
Oh, you did? I just missed it.
Yeah.
I just ignored
I
it.
think so. But I'll do it again.
Yeah. My
I
bad.
have started the Silver Surfer Masterworks, Marvel Masterworks collection. It collects Silver Surfer 1 through 6. I have the second volume of this somewhere in my to be read pile. I don't know what that collects, but I'm assuming like 7 through 13. I'm excited. It's pretty much just goes through their origin comic panels, so I'm excited to see the core and like origin of Silver Surfer. And I know Galactus is involved in a couple of here. I see Thor is on the back of one of the covers. And I'm hoping Fantastic Four gets involved, since they're always so involved in their stories.
What a core.
But
What a core. It's like,
I was just gonna say, they're so integral to a lot of things, man.
Yeah.
When it comes to like supervillain crossovers being one of the first books to do it, crossovers in general, how many freaking Marvel characters they've introduced in the panels of the Fantastic Four comics, and we haven't seen them interact with any of them in
even
real life.
Spider-Man and Fantastic Four, the Future Foundation, man, I need.
yeah.
If I ever see that Future Foundation suit on screen, oh my god, that
What's more likely, that or the
will be the
symbiote?
biggest.
Ooh,
The symbiote.
symbiote, yeah.
Okay.
I feel like the
Okay.
MCU could pull both off, though.
They could, They very well could.
Easily could.
They could pull off a lot of stuff that we're going to learn about and we're going to share with you guys as we go through it. I'm excited. I'm super excited for both of these series.
Yeah.
Me too.
Just core to each universe. You can't get much better than that. And now's the time. We'll see. I don't know. Future looks bright, and we'll see who comes out on top for the box office. That's gonna be big.
It is.
That's all we got.
That's all we got. I was going to say that. That's all we got. Everybody, thank you for joining us on another Wednesday live stream. If this is your first time being with us, subscribe. Please, we would really appreciate the follow. Just because we want you guys here. We want to, speak to you guys and go back and forth on all of this stuff. If you haven't already, join our Discord, because we do watch parties and we do a lot more conversation there. For example, big X-Men 97 chat going on right now, actually. So you're missing out if you're not on there. And again, all the watch parties, all the other extra fun stuff that we do there. But until next Wednesday's live stream, where we will see you again with the news and whatever other deep dive topic we have, 3 things that you need to keep doing, especially on the road to Fantastic Four and Superman. You need to keep watching, you need to keep reading, and you need to keep nerding out. We will see you next Wednesday live stream.